Viper Team Arica entry, and oh, look at that. There's your bit of closing speed as we jumped onto the back camera, and rocketing past was one of their Mercedes. That is unbelievable. And speaking of Mercedes, right now Alan DeCadney is down in pit lane with a driver who just came out of the number 5 Mercedes.
I'm with Christophe Bouchot. Christophe, you can never underestimate Mercedes. Your car seems to be running beautifully.
Yes, we have absolutely no problem. We are very happy because after the qualifying we lost the third cars, and that it was not so good, but now everything is okay. The car is very reliable, and we can follow the rhythm of BMW and Toyota. So now the race for sure, it's a very long race, so we cross the finger and we will see.
How hard are you driving the car though? It seems to be driven pretty hard to me.
Yes, true. The first thing was hard because the strategy of Mercedes was to follow the rip of Toyota, but not too much because for sure it's a race of 24 hours, and the second thing was more cool.
Thank you very much. I think, Andrew, you've got one.
Comes up at 1 p.m. Eastern. And we certainly hope to see you back here at Le Mans as well.
Oh boy,
and I can
look
tell
at the
you,
way that car
bounces
down the road. It's unbelievable.
I can tell you there are any number of young hot shoes in this race that would like to win here in order to use this as a springboard for opportunity to get into Formula One. This is the Bouchot Heidfeld Dumbrek car. And believe me, Nick Heidfeld, who is winning Formula 3000 races right and left right now for McLaren, in that has every chance of getting up into Formula One. He's their test driver right now. Were he to win this race, that would be the kind of general publicity. I mean, right now he's known to the insiders of the sport, but it would be the kind of wide publicity that would make it very possible to make him.
Oh, I could see that coming a mile off. He just didn't see him there at all.
Something? But he could suddenly convert. I mean, Heidfeld's a perfect example of somebody that could convert a Le Mans victory into a Formula One seat. Everything is, the stars are in the right position in the planets for that to happen.
And of course, Christophe Bouchot has won this race before himself in coming down. There's the pit entry off to the left. These are the forward chicanes, tight left, right, then another one almost immediately, just to slow the cars down past the pits.
Look at how hard they work, guys. Isn't that amazing? I mean, they're just not cruising at all.
Absolutely phenomenal. And what was fascinating me was that before he had that moment right here, let's go back and look at that, David. You can see, well, he came from way back.
Yeah, and at this point, obviously, the guy in the Viper has not seen him. Now he has. And of course, moves over here to let him through before he comes out there. He actually puts the brakes in.
Now, on that replay, if you look right by the wheel, I don't know if, well, nope, it's going to cut away with that digital indicator. The thing that amazed me about how fast those Porsche curves are, that right-hander before he got into it with a Viper, fairly tight turn in there, and I was watching that indicator, and it went from 3rd to 4th, not 3rd to 2nd. That is a fast section of track. Twisty,
fast, yeah.
Though it may be.
Well, you got to think these guys are lapping in the region of 150 miles an hour around here, and every time they slow it down, they add another chicane or whatever, they still get that average right back up around about 150 miles, which is quick for any circuit.
It's remarkably quick. You know, we've been talking about what a great performance the number 17 BMW has put on, and arguably the quickest driver, the team leader, he hasn't even been in the car yet, but he's with Andrew. Just a remarkable driver. He didn't have a long stint in the Kart IndyCar Championship, but he was very quick there, and certainly was remarkable at Sebring this year. The number 5 Mercedes currently running in the 4th position. The car, Sam, you were alluding to. We're back on board, and again, if you watch just inside that unique steering wheel, just to the left of that, you can see that red indicator. It's 5th right now, 5th gear, and then when they slam down through the gears, it is remarkable, but it tells you exactly what's going on inside that car. Actually, it's 6 now. He just went.
Yeah, here's this part of the track that's as fast as any other. Here comes this no-name right-hander just before Indianapolis. Indianapolis, the left-hander coming up now, but he's just been through a really, really fast part. If you went straight here, you'd go into our Nage and be able to have lunch at the restaurant we ate in. It's just a few hundred yards down there, and now you make the run up toward the Porsche curves.
Where those marshals are standing behind that guardrail, there's a whole bunch of houses there, and their gardens come down to the track. And of course, when I started racing here first, this guardrail wasn't there. People would sit on lawn chairs right by the edge of the road at the end of their backyard, and they'd just sit there and all day and watch it.
Folding the car now into those Porsche curves, and again, the speed that they carry through this section, it is not straight, but it is awfully fast. There's third. Now watch this indicator here. He comes up through here, and this is the corner where he got caught out a little bit, I think, by the Viper. There's third. There's fourth. I mean, it's very fast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tremendous handling here, and you can see fifth gear now how much downforce they have. You cannot get through all the way down to first. Wow, look at that. First gear. I thought he'd take that in second. That's a very, very long first gear. If the Toyota has a similar gear, David, I think that explains probably their starting problems. And you know, you got to realize that the pit straight is slightly uphill, and Toyota just happens to be in a position along that straight which is a little more uphill than some of the rest of the pit area, so that could exacerbate their problem.
And again, when you were talking about how hard they're working, he just went through the Dunlop chicane and was all sideways through there, getting up on the curbs. I mean, they are running. That last lap was a 3:41.8 off of the qualifying pace a bit, but they're still working these cars very hard. We have now just left Terre Rouge and are heading down the Mulsanne. Let's just let you enjoy this ride.
Let me just tell you how you feel when you pass a car like that, even if it's a much slower car. You just feel great. You know, it's just great to blow somebody off like that.
You also feel
annihilated him.
Slight sigh of relief too. He is working hard, isn't he?
Amazing thing here is you come out of that second chicane and you're right into what is the Mulsanne, the King, and it gives it a whole different perspective exiting a chicane as opposed to coming into it at 240 miles an hour after 2 miles.
Okay, here's that little rise that used to get cars airborne, and of course
did this morning.
Did this morning.
Look at the way that thing twitches on the brake and going to the Mulsanne. It's incredible. It must be an awful handle drive.
We're coming around now. We're nearly completing a full lap to give you an idea of what 3 minutes and about 40 seconds feels like to accomplish an 8-mile drive through the countryside.
And they're saying that now, this section of track with the chicanes on the Mulsanne, right before they get to that right-hander, is now the fastest part of the circuit.
Look at that bumping, by the way. Yeah, this is probably the most dangerous place right in here, for my money. That no-name turn before Indianapolis. Indianapolis is called that because it's a left turn with banking. It's a slightly banked in honor of Indy. It's nothing like an Indianapolis turn at all. There's that first gear at Arnage. Wow, that was a great ride, a great experience to ride around with a Mercedes-Benz.
Well, look at the closing rate. That's one of the GTS cars, and they exist if you catch them at the wrong time in a braking zone, but otherwise they almost don't. I mean, the closing speeds are so incredible.
Yeah, that's where that 45 seconds a lap difference comes from. I mean, that guy is now 3 turns back, and by now he's 4 turns back, and the next thing you know, he's a piece of dust.
Now, this is the approach here into that Ford chicane, and this is some incredibly hard braking into this section. You go down to second gear here, and then first for the second of those 2 corners. There's the left-right, and a little bit of gas, and then here it's hard braking.
The idea initially behind, of course, the Ford chicane was that Ford had set this all-time distance record with their big cars, and they thought if they paid for a chicane, that would keep their distance record intact. It did for about a year.
And boy, you can take a look as Andrew Marriott informed us. 338's turned to 338.8, which is only a tenth off of his best lap, or that car's best lap, of 338.7. But McNish turned to 3:38 flat, and once he got by him, I bet we're going to see Mueller start to tail off once again, run in the 3:39s, 3:40s, and work on that fuel. On board now with the Mercedes. And boy, there's that bumpiness once again. It really,
you can see how the road there leaves those rubber marks on the road there where the tires break traction on the way into that corner. By this time tomorrow, well, not quite this time tomorrow, but by later in the race tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of rubber on the road there through Arnage. Now that parked car is going to be up there on his right. There it is, just under the bridge. There's the gardens coming down to the track edge as he sweeps up here, downhill here to this left-hand kink. Another little left-hander here, and then you sweep right into the first force curve. Mighty curves, these. Dab of the brake, down a shift probably, and then really hard on it through this first right-hander, then this left-hander over the bridge. Great curves to drive quick on.
David, this is where, when you speak of the marbles that get outside of the line, boy, they really happen through here, and in particular through the two chicanes. Oh, he was in trouble there for a second. That's an awful lot of steering. It happens right in here. You get offline about 10 o'clock on tomorrow, and you're going to be in big trouble. Fortunately, the guardrails are pretty far back.
And of course, a lot of the time you're offline because you're lapping people.
Yeah.
And of course, you're offline, and they won't go offline because they don't want to get in the marbles, so they make you go offline to get around them. Yeah. And it's so deep that you pick it up and it sticks to the tires, and you know, the next few corners aren't very funny either because you've got all that stuff stuck to your tires, and which is just then thrown off again. But as the race progresses, that's what's going to happen. We're 5 minutes away from our trip to Montreal, and 46 laps in for the leader. And a lot happening at Le Mans, a very fast and furious pace these first 3 hours have been.
It's been just remarkable. The battle for the lead still within 2.8 seconds at this point. And that is huge. We continue to stay on board. It is such a great shot with the number 5 AMG Mercedes. It's the CLR, the development, really almost a new car, but they obviously learned a lot and made some serious changes from the CLK of last year. And boy, just the onboard here is phenomenal as they whistle through the very quick sections of the Circuit de Sarthe here. And this is right by, there's the restaurant, I think, Hunanderas, a very famous place, and into the first of the chicanes. And Mercedes is going to take us away for just a minute. We'll stay on board, and we'll be back in just a minute. Speed Vision are now known as the Porsche curves. We've talked about them, and they are indeed very technical and fascinating to watch cars run through. There is the, whoa, a little bit of oversteer on the exit of the Mulsanne hairpin as they are heading back on that run essentially through Indianapolis and Arnage and eventually to the Porsche curves, as we are talking about. Just a little bit ago, we watched the number 31 Riley and Scott Europe entry, the machine owned by Philippe Gage being put behind the wall, and that is indeed a sad moment as we continue to watch the Mercedes and the Toyota. And Philippe Gage, of course, a Frenchman. This is the French Classic, and when they are out, Andrew, that I think is all the more painful.
Yeah, we're looking at Gary Formato sitting in the
International. This is a remarkable weekend.
What a weekend it is, and what a race it is here, too. Toyota has just retaken the lead from BMW, but I caution you to realize that as you see the Audi changing drivers here, the number, and Alan is down with Mercedes. Alan?
Yeah, that's right. Number 5 cars come in. It also looks very clean and healthy, and Nick Heidfeld's getting out, and Christophe Bouchot's getting in. And basically, they put the fuel in, up goes the car, off come the tires and wheels this time. They're going to put brand new tires and wheels on, haven't even been scrubbed in, and it should be just a routine pit stop. Hopefully it'll start up all right. The driver's just getting himself strapped in, cleaning the windscreen. And this car, again, hasn't actually got the carbon fibre brakes, but it does look extremely clean and healthy. And Andrew, how's it going up there?
I got Frank Bieler with me, the world, British, German, Italian touring car champion, never raced at Le Mans. Frank, your first time thoughts of Le Mans?
Yes, it's a nice thing to do this race. I mean, it's the first time for me, and to be honest, I was a bit nervous before the first stint, but now I did a couple of laps, and now it's okay.
Okay, a little nervous. Back to you in the booth.
Thanks very much, Andrew. And Yeah, it's always nice to get those first few laps under your belt, I suppose, at a race of this dimension. It is huge.
It's such a relief. You worry so much, but then you're out there, you get the rhythm of the thing, you've done a good job, and suddenly all the monkey is off your back. You can start to enjoy it. Of course, if it starts to